Welcome back to the Advantage Playback. I'm Katie, and locked inside the virtual bunker, running diagnostics on the math and the mindset, is the architect himself, Kyle.
Systems are online, Katie. We have a heavy data packet today. We aren't just looking at the math of the table, we are looking at the math of the industry. This is episode 183, Why Playing Safe is Killing Your Bankroll and the Atlantic City Gold Mine.
And wow, did TRG start this one with the safety off. Usually he opens with a little banter, maybe a weather report from parts unknown. This time, he opened with a confession. He almost pulled the plug.
Complete system shutdown.
He was serious. He was staring at the monitor, finger hovering over the delete button, ready to scrub the servers. And to set the mood, he queued up the police. Kyle, break down the audio signature.
King of Pain. It's a track from 1983. There's a little black spot on the sun today. It's the same old thing as yesterday. There's a black hat caught in a high treetop. There's a flagpole rag and the wind won't stop. I have stood here before inside the pouring rain, with the world turning circles running round my brain. I guess I'm always hoping that you'll end this rain, but it's my destiny to be the king of pain.
A black spot on the sun. The king of pain. That sounds ominous.
It's a metaphor for an external blockage. In this case, the black spot is what TRG calls the corporate morality police. Linktree, Google, the banking system. He tried to set up a simple mailing list to help the squad get comps, and the algorithm slapped him down. And as a result, he feels destined to be the king of pain, suffering for the squad.
We don't support that industry. That was the message. Banned. Deplatformed. It's crazy because he's not selling a gambling addiction. He's teaching math.
It's a logic error in society's code, Katie, and TRG called out the hypocrisy with absolute precision.
Oh, he went in. He pointed out that the state runs ads 24/7 telling you to buy lottery tickets where the return to players 50%.
Correct. The state sells a product that is mathematically guaranteed to bankrupt the user. Wall Street gamifies the stock market on your phone, allowing you to lose your life savings on options trading. That is legal.
But if TRG sends an email about a blackjack game with a 99.5% return, suddenly he's the villain?
Precisely. He's the shady dude. It's an illogical double standard. The system tolerates gambling only when the player has zero advantage. The moment you introduce advantage play, the moment you introduce a skill set that threatens the house or the status quo, the morality police shut the gate.
It hit him hard. He said it hit harder than losing a TRG 4 meta martingale session 2 days in a row. He felt like he was playing a rigged game. And if the game is rigged, why play?
That is the question. Why continue the transaction if the counterparty is acting in bad faith? He compared himself to Loki, burdened with glorious purpose, a glorious purpose the corporations were structured to refuse.
But he didn't quit. He took a breath. He thought about the squad. He thought about the emails, the cruises, the gift card from Espresso King.
He executed the mental stop-loss. He realized he was on tilt metaphorically, and a professional does not make decisions while on tilt. You step back, you analyze the variables, and you find a workaround.
You can't stop the signal. That was the final verdict.
The signal is the math. And speaking of math, TRG channeled that anger into something productive. He went into the war room with a new piece of tech, a full-blown blackjack simulator, and he found something that contradicts almost every safe gambling strategy out there.
Oh, this is the big one. We are talking about the suffocation effect. If you think playing it safe is saving you money, Kyle is about to explain why you're wrong.
It's not about safety, Katie. It's about oxygen.
We are now entering the war room. And Kyle, I have to say, this is the moment the logic over magic crowd has been waiting for. TRG didn't just play a few hands. He built a machine.
He finally coded a full-blown blackjack simulator. And this isn't just a random number generator. It's an engine that plays perfect basic strategy for the specific rules of the table. Hard 17, double after split, no surrender. It plays the TRG4, win more, keep more system flawlessly. It doesn't get tired, it doesn't get hungry, and unlike a human player, it absolutely never goes on tilt.
Kismet actually called the player logic flawless. So we have a perfect player running 300 full sessions. And TRG decided to test a theory that I think every gambler has had. If I just quit a little earlier when I'm losing, I'll save money in the long run.
The temptation of the tight stop-loss. The standard TRG4 system uses an 8-unit negative exit. That means if you buy in for 10 units, you walk if you lose 8 of them. TRG's hypothesis was simple. What if we tighten that to 6 units? Logic suggests that cutting the tail off the losses should improve the bottom line.
It makes sense on paper. If you're going to lose anyway, why lose 8 chips when you can stop at 6? You save 2 chips per loss. That adds up, right?
That is linear thinking, Katie. And blackjack is not linear, it is volatile. The results were catastrophic.
Catastrophic?
In the control group, playing with a standard -8 unit limit, the system generated a profit of 109 units over 100 sessions, with a 42% win rate. But when he tightened the clamp to -6 units, the system lost 51 units. The win rate plummeted to 32%.
Whoa. He went from a solid profit to a net loss just by trying to be safer? That sounds backwards.
We call it the Suffocation Effect. You have to remember how TRG4 works. It uses a regressive grind, betting 1 unit to recover losses. That grind takes time, and more importantly, it takes depth. The bankroll needs room to breathe.
So by setting the limit at -6, he was basically choking the strategy.
Exactly. The simulation data showed the whipsaw. In the winning runs, the bankroll often dipped to -4 or -5 units before catching a streak and rocketing up to the +12 profit target. When he set the limit to -6, he turned those temporary dips into permanent losses. He was hitting the eject button right before the turbulence cleared.
He actually flagged a specific session, session 92.
Session 92 is the smoking gun. In the Titan simulation, it fought for 13 hands, dipped just below -6, and the system killed it for a loss. In the standard run, that same session survived the dip, the math stabilized, and it went on to win. By trying to save 2 units, he forfeited the entire recovery.
So the lesson here is, let the variance breathe.
The math needs oxygen, Katie. In fact, when he ran a third simulation and loosened the stop loss to -9 units, the performance improved again. Session 93 dropped to -6.5 units, which would have killed it in the safe version, but because he gave it 9 units of room, it fought back and won 2.5 units.
That is a massive insight. We always hear cut your losses short, but TRG just proved with 300 AI-verified sessions that if you cut them too short, you bleed to death.
Precisely. The safe play is actually the dangerous play. The recommendation from Kismet was definitive. Keep the profit target at +12. Do not lower it. And keep the loss limit at -8 or -9. You need those deep progressive runs to pay for the grind. And you can't hit the home run if you strike out on purpose in the second inning.
The math needs oxygen. I love that. And speaking of things that need oxygen, TRG also answered a question that makes a lot of people hold their breath. Is my casino host ghosting me?
Ah, the Mr. Papa Giorgio dilemma. We're moving from the math of the felt to the math of the hierarchy.
We are moving from the war room to the mailbag. This is Questions My Sons Ask, and today's question comes from a squad member who is starting to sweat.
The subject line, is my host ghosting me?
It's a classic panic moment. A listener booked a trip through our friend Michael at Premier Casino Hosting. He needed to change a reservation, move from the Flamingo to Paris, add a night at the Plaza, and he put the request in on a Wednesday or Thursday. Since TRG works for Premier Casino Hosting and he is friends with the listener, TRG put in the request.
Standard procedure.
But then, silence. Friday rolls around. No confirmation number, no email. And the anxiety starts creeping in. Did he forget me? Am I not important enough? Should I call the hotel directly?
This is the friction between Expedia speed and host value. When you book on Travelocity, you get a confirmation number in 0.4 seconds. It is a binary transaction. You pay, the database updates, you exist. Working with a host is not a database query. It is a negotiation.
TRG broke down the queue logic behind the scenes, and honestly, it made so much sense. The person at Caesars looking at that request isn't a computer, it's a human named Sue, and Sue is looking at a screen full of fire alarms. She is deciding which one to put out first.
Correct. It's operational triage. Priority 1, the 7 stars player who needs a limo tonight. Priority 2, the guest checking in this weekend. Priority 99, the squad member asking to change a room for a trip that isn't happening until March.
Exactly. If you need a change for March and it's Friday afternoon, Sue is working on the guy standing at the front desk screaming about his view. She'll get to you when the fire is out.
But that delay triggers the imposter syndrome. The guest thinks, I'm small potatoes, so I'm being ignored. TRG calls this the Mr. Papa Giorgio test.
I love that reference. Vegas vacation. You have to walk in with that unshakable confidence. I put the car in, I'll get the car out. If Michael says I got it, then he's got it. TRG admitted even he texts his host Bubba, gets a "you're all set," and shows up without a confirmation number. He just assumes it's handled. But Kyle, that takes nerves of steel. What if you show up and there is no room?
TRG addressed that safety net fear too. He told a story about a guest at station casinos who showed up and the desk said the reservation was for tomorrow. Panic ensues. But because they booked through TRG, he texted the partners called the VP, and within 15 minutes the guest had keys and a drink in hand.
That is the trade-off. If you book on Expedia, you have certainty now, but zero backup if things go wrong. If you book with a host, you pay with patience, but you get a fixer when the system breaks.
And you get the perks, the suite, the food, the appearance fee. As TRG said, certainty and immediacy versus goodies and consideration. You have to choose your currency.
Speaking of choosing your currency, let's talk about where we're spending it. We have a 2025 audit of the Atlantic City Boardwalk requested by Equine Ensign.
The data has shifted, Katie. Let's look at the property breakdown.
We are wheels down in Atlantic City. Equine Ensign asked for the 2025 update, and TRG delivered the state of the boardwalk.
It's a competitive market, Katie. Unlike Vegas, where the duopoly of Caesars and MGM controls the strip, AC has valid independent contenders fighting for market share. That friction creates value for the player.
And we have a new champion. 4 years ago, TRG was all about the Borgata, but this time, he crowned Ocean Casino Resort as the total package.
Hard to argue with the metrics. The rooms, the views, the lobby bar energy, it is the superior physical asset. But purely from a player efficiency standpoint, Borgata is still a heavy hitter. The VIP lounge is top tier, and the MGM Rewards ecosystem is unmatched. It's a photo finish, but Ocean takes the gold by a nose.
I was surprised by his take on Harris. He usually loves the pool there, but he called out the dealers for being sloppy.
That caught my attention immediately. He described them using dirty money, basically taking a losing player's chips and immediately handing them to a winning player without washing them through the rack.
Is that a problem? Money is money, right?
It is a procedural failure. It doesn't change the math of the game, but it indicates a lack of discipline in the pit. A professional advantage player looks for sloppy dealers because sloppy dealers make mistakes. TRG says he dislikes it because he wants a clean game, but I guarantee you, if they are sloppy with payouts, they are sloppy with exposed hole cards. That is an opportunity, not a bug.
Spoken like a true shark. Then we moved to Caesars, and TRG went full theater critic. He saw The Hook, the Spiegelworld show, and he was unimpressed.
He called it safe, and this circles back to the theme of the episode. The show relies on tired stereotypes, the offended Appalachian Christian woman, because it's an easy target. It's 2015 comedy in 2025. TRG's point was sharp. If you want to be edgy, actually take a risk. Don't just play to the safe center. Just like the stop loss in the war room, playing it safe makes for a mediocre result.
Ouch. But he did give a gold star to Bally's.
Bally's is the sleeper hit for the math crowd. The high-limit room has arguably the best blackjack rules in the country. Stand on soft 17, low house edge. If you are playing for the math, you play at Bally's. If you are playing for the vibe, you play at Ocean.
And if you are playing at Hard Rock, well, apparently you aren't playing at all because they won't send TRG a mailer.
That is the outlier in the data. He plays, he qualifies, but the algorithm at Hard Rock has flagged him as do not market. It's their loss. The squad goes where the appreciation is.
Exactly. And speaking of appreciation, we have a guest in the virtual VIP lounge who appreciates the physics of the dice. We are talking to a literal rocket scientist. Welcome back to the virtual VIP lounge. The fire is crackling, the tree is lit, it is fully decorated for Christmas in here, and we have a very special guest in the corner booth.
And for once, Katie, the IQ in the room has significantly spiked. We aren't just talking to a gambler, we are talking to a literal rocket scientist.
John Silva. The man worked with NASA, he's done projects for the US government, and what does a rocket scientist do when he retires? He discovers the game of craps.
Naturally, he saw the physics problem on the felt. And because he is an engineer, he didn't just want to throw the dice, he wanted to track the trajectory. So he built the Craps Dice Control Trainer.
This isn't just a scorekeeper app. It tracks the specific set you use, the 3V, the hard ways, and it records the outcome of the left die and the right die separately.
Which is critical data. If you are trying to be a dice mechanic or a rhythm roller, you need to know if your left die is consistently rotating off axis. The app exports the data to a CSV file. You can email it to yourself and run the analysis in Excel. That is music to my ears.
But the real mind-blowing moment, the architect moment of the interview, was when TRG asked him about the what-if feature.
That was the gold nugget. John mentioned they are debating a feature where the app takes your actual throw mechanics, how the dice tumbled, and simulates the result if you had used a different starting set.
So it would tell you, hey, you threw a 7 out, but if you had started with the hard way set, that same throw would have been a hard 8.
Exactly. There are 576 possible combinations of how the dice can land. The app could mathematically prove which dice set is optimal for your specific throwing motion. It's the same logic as the blackjack simulator we discussed in the war room, simulating the alternate reality to find the optimal path.
It's incredible, and John made an amazing offer to the squad.
He did. If you want to test the physics, email him at john@insanelycoolsoftware.com. Tell him you are with the squad, tell him TRG sent you, and he will send you a promo code to try the app for free for 30 days.
And remember, Insanely Cool Software is spelled with a C, not a K. We don't own that trademark.
Yet. But seriously, this is a tool that turns a hunch into data. And as we always say, professional players don't guess, they know.
Speaking of knowing, we know it's time to wrap this up. We've covered the suffocation of safety, the morality police, the Atlantic City leaderboard, and the rocket science of dice.
The engine is stable, Katie. Let's initiate the shutdown sequence.
Audio cue transition music. The upbeat, soulful casino combat blues kicks in, harmonica and a steady blues rock rhythm. I hope you understand he was born a rambling man. Goodbye, everyone.
2023 Volcanic Dingo LLC, all rights reserved. Execute the plan, trust the core concepts, stay out of the noise, and always spell concepts with a K.